most people, the fastest way to grow from a junior to a senior is maybe to work in a startup. And the reason why is different, in a proper company, your roles are sort of like streamlined. You cannot break the norm and go out of the status quo. But in a startup, you tend to be saddled with a lot of things very quickly that can make you grow as fast as possible. So I would like to take the global average. You're managing a team, you've shipped successful projects within the company that are useful. You are communicating with stakeholders and then setting the direction, how the analytics team and the usage of analytics in your organization. So I think that's basically how I will say the roadmap or the trajectory. You are now moving from being told what to do to actually taking ownership.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the DataPod, where our conversations connected. You know how we do it. We discuss everything and we dissect everything within the data world. I'm your host, Favor with the most, Aspire, and I'm here again with my I don't know. I need to start bringing new.
But not your boss this time. think of something else.
No, but you know you're my boss. You know boss. That. No, sincerely, Samuel, you know that. You are my humble boss, and you know I'm very submissive to you.
Samuel said he's an intern.
No, but it's right. So, if that Samuel is an intern, what do you now want to call me?
I don't know.
you see. Welcome back, guys. So I'm just taking a look at my guys. In fact, Samuel is repping. He's repping our
actually,
BI today.
I just remember it was while I was even
just
listening. I just saw this shit. I'm like,
he's giving you Power BI.
One of my
he mentioned it one time like that.
Really?
I think I got the shirt from
Oyelowo
DataFest. One of DataFest.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Interesting. And take a look at Suraj.
He made
Suraj always giving us the whole
Yoba, exactly.
I cannot keep myself. Suraj,
we should take note of you. Anyways, I'm very sure you guys have had an exciting time. It's been such a journey. 6 amazing episodes, and we are here today on the 7th. I think it's 7th. I'm not so sure, but I'm losing count. But it's just going to go up and up and up. And you know, guys, we've been increasing the tempo, and trust me, we'll keep giving you back to back. Today we have someone very spectacular, someone very. In fact, I don't even know, like, how do people do this thing? That's the question that keeps ringing in my head. How do people do this thing? People, they are just so exceptional. But, the good thing about DataPod, we get to invite this very amazing guest for our viewers. So, and we know that you are going to learn a lot from this impactful session. So, I'll just introduce our guest, and I'll tell you why we chose this particular guest for this particular topic. So our guest, he is a business intelligence consultant with over 9 years of experience.
Okay.
This is not the one that they say they can pick experience on the floor. 9 years. 9 years. The kind of so the kind of content that can come from such a person. So currently he's a business intelligence manager at Comes. I had to, because
our conversations connected, so that
it makes sense.
The alignment is just
so he's a business intelligence manager at Coms. His last role, he was the vice president for data advocacy. He's a Microsoft certified trainer.
Okay.
He's Microsoft. I think we're talking about the episode about certification and stuff. Yeah. So you guys, this one, So this one, he's certified. Like certifications that matter, right? Mm-hmm. So he's a Microsoft certified data analyst and Microsoft certified analytics engineer. He has 9 years of experience of helping businesses leverage data to make better decisions. He has consulted on analytics and data-driven strategies to several organizations. He has helped 100+ companies transform their businesses leveraging data. He is a mentor, a coach, a thoughtful leader within the data ecosystem. Wow. He has spoken at International Data Conference. He's not a small person. He's not a small person. But guys,
he's not small.
We're not small people. Yeah, Suraj. So let's welcome
there's no
but we can give a round of applause now. So let's welcome our guest, Fatai Sani. Hi, Fatai.
Hi,
Hi.
Fatai.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure
Thank you for
to be
coming
here.
on the podcast today.
Thank
How are
you
you
very
doing? Nice to see you. Nice to have you here.
I'm fine. It's a pleasure to be here. You guys are doing amazing job. I've
Thank
watched
you.
a couple of your podcasts and it's really, really fantastic. So
Thank you so much.
it's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Wow,
to
if
be a
someone
part
like
of this as
Fatai
well.
can say that we are doing a lot.
As in,
Straight
I feel like
up.
no,
Yeah.
actually, don't worry.
Yeah,
You
guys.
guys are for real.
Thank you so much, Fatai. Thank you so much. So, how are you today?
Yeah,
How's
I'm
it
fine.
been?
I'm fine. It's a beautiful day in Lagos and
How?
yeah, it's a good day.
Yeah,
Tell
you
me
look
you don't
good
mix
actually.
traffic, sha.
Thank you. No, not at all.
No,
Not at
Lagos
all.
is good now. Then
No, he's looking fresh now. Mama, check him out now.
Thank you very much.
He's looking fresh.
Thank
yeah. So, Fatai is a seasoned data professional, and today we are going to be talking about the data career ladder, growing from junior to senior. So you can see this is someone that has gone through the ladder. He has wealth of experience. He has been able to converse with so many different type of people, across his many years of experience. So, Fatai, we just want to hear your story, how you got into data, how has it been over the years. So let us know your story, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. I've shared this a couple of times, but I believe that this is going to be like the very first time I'm going to be talking about it end to end. So I studied agricultural engineering.
Engineer.
Agricultural. What are you doing here?
But
Sorry,
it's
please.
just like
Sorry,
there's just like
please.
a split
Hello.
between favor and I.
It's like intercept.
So it's just a split between both of us.
Yeah.
But there's
Engineering
a twist side to it, right?
Okay.
So I studied agricultural engineering, and for most, and I went to a polytechnic also. That's something I'm also going to talk about later. So I graduated from Lagos State Polytechnic. I studied agricultural engineering, and while I was serving, I'm in school, I just kept on thinking like, what's there after school? What next? Like, I agree. Everybody thinks you are
A farmer.
no matter how you try to package it,
Yeah.
it's just about that. So after school, I happened to have a street brother. We used to go help him with errands and stuff, and he was working with one e-commerce company that I don't know if I can mention that name. I will do it anyway, Konga. And he was an analyst at that time at Konga. So he would come back and talk about like all the good things like they do with data in his company and all that. And I just sort of paid attention to what it says, and I started thinking, that was the very first time I was hearing anybody talk about
Data.
We did all those projects in school, but it's just SPSS and all of those things. Nobody really thought that
I can't
this
be
is
the only
like
one that really use that SPSS. So I actually don't know what it is.
I paid someone
what
to
did you
do
do?
my
What did you
movie.
use?
I paid some of my project.
Oh, my project, I did forecast using
MATLAB.
MATLAB, yeah. So there was an inbuilt analysis stuff, yeah. So go ahead.
But I paid someone. I can't even remember how it went. So, but really, it was from talking to him that I learned or heard about data for the first time. But the thing about it, that even though he talked about all the things he does and how he never had the time to like properly teach me and say this is what we do, or so he just talks about all these things and I go write it down. So today he talks about he uses one Excel formula or function. I'll just go write it down, and then I couldn't even. Data was expensive. I'm talking 2014.
I was going to ask how far back was that?
2014. 2013-ish, 2014-ish. So
Suraj, where were you then?
I was in school.
I was in secondary school.
So 2013, 2014. So I'll just go and start Googling all of these things and try to know what are these things that he's even talking about. So I would go to the Microsoft documentation for Excel at that time because I didn't know a better way to learn. So I'll be looking at the formula references. So I'll just say, okay, if you look up, this is how it's being used. This is some if this is this is that, and just go, because then there were not a lot of like, let's say, resources or courses that people. I didn't know like there was anything called a boot camp, or even if I knew, I couldn't afford it anyway. So I just looked up the references, the documentation, and I started practicing. as little as I could at that time. So eventually I was fortunate enough to get a job, not as an analyst.
Okay.
I just got an internship role as an operations support or operations. I don't even know. I don't even have the title. Let's just call it operations associate.
Okay.
But the good thing was it was at a startup, but it was also an e-commerce startup at that time, right? So it was a menswear fashion brand, but specifically selling clothes online through all these e-commerce platforms as well, and also on the company website. So what in the role, I was more like a generalist. I was doing everything. I was managing tailors at some point. I was managing logistics and delivery guys. I was doing everything. I was managing photo shoots as well. So we bring in models, we shoot them.
Wait, as an intern, or?
Yes. So we were just
That's why we need to talk about that.
we were just three in the company, actually. The founder, the co-founder, and myself.
Wow.
So that gave me the opportunity to. There was nobody to hold my hand to say this is how I got to the job the second
Figuring
week.
things out.
I had to figure things out.
I feel like they just gave you that intern position, just to pay you cheap labor, sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know better. At that job, I was even happy I got a job. I was living in Ikotun at that time. The job was at Ikoyi. So it was about 45,000 naira for the job, and I spent about 38,000 on transport.
So
but I was happy to because I didn't want to, because I thought I was not going to get any job anyway. Because I studied at home, so I didn't want to sit at home. Just do anything and just get by. So I was working at the job. Now this is what stood out for me. They needed to build, because it was a new company. I mean, it was the very first company that just raised some funds at that time. So they needed to build an inventory management tool or solution, because there has to be a way that we are selling outfit. We're selling on 3 platforms, Konga, Jumia, on our website. There needed to be a way to handle, track. When are we where are we selling what? At what prices are we selling? How much is the revenue? Then quantity sold, how many quantity, what is the
stock
balance? Now, there are some intricacies as well. There are returns. When you sell, a sale is not a complete sale until the money hits and sometimes, with e-commerce, you sell, then the item comes back after 2 months. So needed to build a tool that can manage that end to end. The founder is busy going around raising money, trying to make the business better. The co-founder is sort of like the developer, is the tech guy that builds the website, and that only leaves me. So I had to use the little knowledge of Excel I had at that time to build that solution or that tool, because I was managing the inventory anyways, and I needed to account for where all of this is going. And I was able to build one of the things I'm proud of the most in my career. Was I built a tool that tracks not just revenue, it also tracks inventory, it tracks what is being returned, it tracks what is being sold. It was later I found out that all of the concept I was even using, maybe they're like proper names to calling them slowly changing dimension and all of these things. So I built that, and I was very proud of what I did, and I just kept on learning and learning. So there was no boot camp, there was no training, there was nothing. I needed to build a solution. I needed to find a solution to something. I just go look for how to get it and just implement, which is one of the, it's a separate conversation on maybe self-taught versus boot camp, but I don't want to get into that today because there was nobody holding me or teaching me. So I just had to figure things out on my own. And I was able to manage that. I stayed with the company for 3 years.
Wow. And
in that short time, I had risen from like intern to associate to like a manager, even though I was managing just tailors and a couple. More people joined us eventually. 2, 3, 4, 5 people here and there, and I was able to manage all. And that's where now, when I was leaving the company, in fact, I didn't leave. The company had to shut down operation for one reason or the other. When I was leaving, so I thought, what was the next thing I wanted to do with my career? So I have all of this experience, but I don't want to be a generalist, because operations, am I going to call? Because then I had an identity or career crisis. Am I going to call myself an operations manager? Am I
doing
going
so
to
many
call?
things
Yes, I was
at
doing
the same time.
I was managing vendors. I was managing delivery guys. So I just felt, since my brother was a data person, let me restructure my CV to only focus on this data side and then grow as much as I could. In fact, for the first 3 years of my career, I only knew Excel. So when I was leaving, I refocused my CV, and that was how I started applying for other jobs. So the second job I was applying for was more of a big data role. So it was in a logistic company, and then I applied. So I got in and spent maybe a couple of years. Then I moved to Halogen as now like a mid-level data analyst at that time. So I was working in a control room. We're managing like all security data across the nation. So that was my journey. So first I started as an intern, moved to sort of like a junior associate level, and by the time I was moving from that role to my next role, I wasn't going to call myself a junior anymore, because the company I was going, I was also the only data analyst there. So which means that all the decisions lie on me. I was reporting to the CEO at that time, so there was not like a so I was like a mid-level sort of. Also in Halogen I was mid-level, and from there, that was when I moved to Reliance Info Systems. Reliance Info Systems was a data consulting company. It was more like a tech consulting, but I was working in the data space. Yeah, so I came in also as a senior data analyst, and from there I grew to the manager for business intelligence. Then from there, something vice president, data advocacy, because there was a lot of not just advisory for internal customers, but also for external customers, for clients and the likes. And in that role, I was able to consult for a lot of big companies across Africa, in the Middle East as well, on different data strategies, from moving from on-premise to cloud, to structuring like a proper digital framework or data analytics framework for the organization, teaching data literacy and sort of like incorporating data into the fabrics of how they make decisions. So that was all I was doing then. And yeah, so before I moved to my international role, which is the present role I'm working on now, comes. So that's about my journey. I'm sorry if I took longer.
No,
we need
there was something that stood out for me, right? And I think I want to point out, like you mentioned, okay, how you started as an intern, and from there you moved to still, I think you said intern in another role.
Same company, intern.
After that company,
I was now a junior.
Okay, junior analyst, yes. And then mid-level, and like so now, like all of those, let's call it titles now. What makes you? Well, how do you define? Because for me, how I see it is, okay, I work in a company for a while, and then maybe I entered as a, let's call it junior.
Yeah.
And then maybe after like few years, they say, okay, you are now a senior or mid-level, right? And then you keep carrying that everywhere. Okay, I'm a senior. This any job you want to apply, you now update your LinkedIn senior, okay, and then like that. So now, to me, does senior or does the title of your role, is it a function of how the number of years of experience you have?
Yeah.
Or is it a function of how long you've spent on that job? Like maybe in that company, because some people, maybe they started their career from that company and then they grew like up like that. So is it like how much time I've spent in this company, then if I've spent 10 years in this company, I'm a senior? Or is it about the experience you have in that career track, right? It doesn't matter how long, right? Fine, time might be a factor, but like how well you know, how competent you are, right? So I mean, this is
I think it's a very valid question,
because there's a lot of people here. Sorry to cut you. You see a lot of people say senior on LinkedIn, seniors. And when we are talking to them, when you're interviewing, because I have opportunity to interview, and then you are here, this person is senior, but sorry,
my junior in my company can do times 2 what you can do.
Simple concepts. They don't even. You're right.
So I would like to answer this question in 2 ways. There are 2 ways that people get. So one thing is the title, just like you said. The another thing is where you compare the global average. Is this person a junior, a mid-level, or a senior? There are like maybe standards, maybe globally. Maybe not like hardcore defined, but who accounts for what. So there are some people that work for a structured company. And so if you work for a structured company, maybe like all the big four, for example, you come in at a certain role, there are like defined KPIs and number of years you spend that makes you go from maybe this person to associate, from associate to maybe senior, from senior to maybe manager, like a manager and the like. So they are, so by the time you are looking at maybe 7-8 years, and the reason they defined it that way is because maybe they have like metrics they have put in place to say before you go through all of these things, like within 5-7 years, we should be proud of what you can do, right? Yes.
This,
So because there are certifications, there are KPI, there are benchmark that you have to pass and before you. Now there is now the one that is not properly structured, maybe, and that's majorly for people that work in companies that maybe they don't have that much structure in place, or they work in a startup. So you see that most people, the fastest way to grow from a junior to a senior is maybe to work in a startup.
True.
Right? And the reason why is different is in a proper company, your roles are sort of like streamlined. There's not a lot of initiative, or you cannot break the norm or go out of the status quo. But in a startup, you tend to be saddled with a lot of things very quickly that can make you grow as fast as possible. So I'll give you I'll take maybe a pay stack or a Florida way, for example. You come in maybe as a junior person and you're working maybe closely with your team lead or your VP or whoever, and you're basically responsible for shipping a feature or maybe shipping a solution within a very short time, and you get saddled with so much responsibility, like you grow personally on yourself, by yourself, and you're doing something that a senior in maybe another company will do.
It's not doing,
and that's why you see that a lot of people go through like that's senior to mid-level to or junior to mid-level to senior in startups compared to now. Let's come back to your question. What exactly makes somebody a junior or a senior or
mid
or senior? So I'd like to maybe take the global average, because one of the things, just like you said, is someone calls themselves a senior data analyst or data scientist in a Nigerian company, and then you compare that to a senior mid-level data scientist at Google or Meta, and you see like the disparity is so high. So I will say that if I'm to classify, so if you are a junior, I would like to use maybe analyst for example, just to simplify, because junior data engineer is different from junior data scientist, junior from let's just use data analyst for simplicity. So as a junior, you're coming into a company, maybe the company is you're maybe 2-3 in a team or 4. You have your Excel, your SQL, your Power BI and like. So you're being told as a junior, you're being told what to do. They give you requirements, they possibly give you where to get your data, and they tell you the outcome they're expecting from you. That's basically like the process. So you're using the tool, you're answering the business question you have been given, and maybe once in a while you present your findings to maybe your manager and the likes. Now, pretty quickly moving from there, in a couple more years or 3 years to maybe mid-level, you are now moving from being told what to do to actually taking ownership of some of these things. So they don't just tell you, we are losing, our sales is dropping or something, and then you go as a junior person, all you have to do is connect to your data, do your analysis, bring the chart and say, my God, this is it. From there, you start moving from just analyzing the data to coming up with insight to following up with questions. So our sales are dropping. Why? The next question is, you've answered the what question. The next question is, why is this happening? So you're starting to take ownership into
the business process.
Into the business processes itself. Where is our data source? Is it clean? Is it not clean? Are there processes in place that we can? So you're starting to take ownership. You're going beyond just the tools. You're going beyond just being told what to do. You're taking ownership. You're communicating with stakeholders, right? You can translate like problems to business requirement yourself, from business requirement to tools, from tools to solution.
Yeah.
Right. So you're at that level now. A lot of people get stuck at the junior role for years because they cannot outgrow that whole mindset of being told what to do. And that's why sometimes someone will stay in a company 3-4 years, but they are still considered junior because they are practically being told they are not, the ownership is not there. They can't look beyond the tools, and the like. So from mid-level now, moving to senior. So now you're managing a team. So all of these things depend on how quickly this happens and in the type of organization that you are, right? You're managing a team. You've shipped like successful projects on your own, like within the company that are useful.
Useful. Emphasis on useful.
It's not just about shipping. Yeah, you're shipping solutions that are useful, right? You're communicating with stakeholders, and then you are sort of like setting the direction of how the analytics team and the usage of analytics in your organization is going. So in tech consulting, for example, as a senior person, I'm expected to, if I meet a client today, from first conversation, I can identify what is the problem this company is facing. From there, I can profile solutions to what are some of their problems. I can draw like a diagram, right, a roadmap, right, of this is how long this problem can be solved, right? Does it require solution design? And build a solution design to say these are the tools, the resources, the people management process. At that level, you are not just dealing with the tools and the technical, you're dealing with the outcome. What is the value? At that point, for an organization is in business for three things. You're trying to increase revenue or reduce cost or optimize your process. At that point, that is the language you're speaking. What this project you're trying to embark on, how does it improve the output, performance, revenue, or reduce the cost? So that is the conversation you're having at that stage, and it goes beyond the tool. A lot of people will come and say, "This is our guy here. He does not even these tools. He does not use it."
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not at that point. It's not
about it anymore. Exactly.
It's not the technical. I mean, you have an idea. There's a T shape. You know the depth of one, and then you understand the broadening across like all other domains, maybe in your So they don't need to go in depth into all of the, but they have an idea, and that's why you see that you spend 30 hours preparing a report for your boss. You submit it. He looks at it for 2 minutes and tells you this is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things take experience. It's not just about the tool at that point anymore. So I think that's basically how I will say the roadmap or the trajectory is.
Wow.
Okay.
I've never. Go ahead.
So while you were talking about your experience from the very first step you took down to the end. So, in the past episode that we heard, so Sam said something around, it is not a must for you to find a data job for your very first data job. It's not a must for you that, okay, after you have learned SQL, Power BI and everything, you're now looking for SQL or data analytics job straight up. You can start from where you are. So that insight of, okay, there's an opportunity for you to build an inventory management system, and because of your knowledge of Excel, you're able to build something, and after that, I'm not very sure that act actually spurred your interest into data analytics, apart from the fact that, okay, you have one Egban that is doing that level. But I know that confidence you that, okay, I've been able to build like an inventory management system. This one is good for you. So it's just like to give like a buttress the fact that Sam mentioned the other time, that it is not just like he just mentioned it like that. He's saying that, okay, even if in your own current position or your current organization, anything that you can do with data that you can use data to do, just do it and bring out the insight. So now my own thing is, I want to ask that we've seen some people in the data space, they use 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, move to the next company, spend 1 year, 2 years. They become, it's just like, for instance, somebody in a banking job, you're a data analyst, okay, at one bank, and after 1 year, you move to another bank. You were a junior data analyst before, and now you move to another bank and you became another data analyst, but not the former data analyst. Then you move to another bank, Can we say, because I've noticed it, I just want to confirm, can we say that moving from one company to another company can make you grow as a data analyst in terms of the ladder now? You're moving from one bank, maybe over 3 years, you have moved to 4, 5 different companies. Does that want to makes you a senior data analyst or a senior data? You get it?
Yeah. So that's a very interesting question, and I don't want to break tables. But the thing is, growing the corporate ladder. So I'm maybe our topic today, maybe it encompasses everything. Is one thing to want better pay package and better remuneration for yourself, right? I think if that's the whole goal for an individual, this route is what a lot of people would want to do. It's a proven fact, and in fact, I've tweeted about it like sometimes the fastest way to grow your salary and collect the pay is to jump from one place to the other.
Break the heart.
You are not going to grow your salary by 200-300%
if you are one place,
if you are in the same role. So maybe every performance appraisal every year you get a 10 or 15%. Yeah, but now we are talking about in terms of the technical depth, the competence. So it is not the moving itself that is going to determine, that is the quality of projects that you ship or you work on and when you're moving from those companies. Those are the same thing that will determine. One of the things that when I've talked to a lot of people, one of the things they tell me is that they are stuck in their current role. Right? Yes. So you are in a company, you have 5 years of experience, right? But you are using Excel. Like that's all you have a database, but they don't even allow you to connect to the data because of security reasons. So they have a database and just so that will pull the data and just send it
give
to
you, export to you.
And that is all you do. That is all you are doing in your company. Even if you do that for 10 years, the company might tell you that you are now senior, but deep within yourself, you know that
you are not.
Yeah, you know that
you are
the same people. Some of them will put it on LinkedIn.
Because you are doing the same. You are doing the same thing.
LinkedIn is a separate word.
Yeah, you are doing the same thing over and over again. So that's why I think it's the quality of experience now, rather than the years of experience or the jumping of experience.
But another thing is that there are some people, maybe because of the different flavors that they get from moving from one place to another. That could also be a reason why they are moving. Because somebody that's moved from a fintech company into, let's say, energy, into manufacturing, like FMCG, into, it's just to have like a taste of how these different sectors is.
Domain knowledge.
So that domain knowledge. So because when it now becomes a thing of, okay, you're now a manager at a company, when you bring into that new company the whole lot of experience from fintech, from banking, from everything into one, I know that you'll be seeing things differently than someone that has been in
one space,
one sport,
the domain knowledge experience. And
that's exactly where I'm going.
And even the stack that you use at the different companies,
if they are different, that's one thing I want you to take notice of. If they are different, I'm trying to say that moving from one company to the other is not necessarily not going to make you junior, mid on as your title. Maybe yes. I'm talking of now we're talking of global.
Okay.
In terms of global, are you considered junior, mid-level, or senior? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you move, of course, your title is going to change, right? Now, it now depends on the stack you are using. If you're moving from one company to another that are still using the same Excel, SQL that you are using, and there's no opportunity for growth, or you're still going to
you're still in the same
at that
place,
level.
at that same level.
Maybe you will say, oh, you have more domain expertise and the like, but do you have a change of mindset? Are you communicating with stakeholders? Are you growing? Are you impacting on projects? Are you leading projects? Are you leading teams? Those are the things that really make you move across that ladder. It's not just, I mean, I understand fairly what he's talking about. I've moved across e-commerce to consulting, to logistics, to security myself, right? And I would say that I have a fair share of, but it's not what made me grow is not just moving to those roles, is the quality of project that I built, like in those, like for example, I'll give a very typical example of a project I built when I was in one of the security companies I worked in. I worked in a control room, and every year we found out that around December period, maybe around November, December, we have these guards that we give to like companies.
Yes.
So most times they travel. Those guards we call it abandonment, or be post abandonment. They will just go. You will not, I mean, they're being paid on a monthly basis, of course, but they just move December and then they come back January or February. And so we've been analyzing this trend, and we see that so that was the first thing I did, because we have this data. They have a lot of data, of course, and coming in as a senior, I mean, maybe mid-level at that point, like a mid-level. So I see this trend. So I look at the data. I see that every single year, like this thing is happening, and the company is losing money. Why? Because if the guards don't show up for their duty, the company will not pay. So the first thing I did was, after seeing the trend, I tied the post abandonment. I tied it to revenue. How much are we losing
due to this behavior?
This. Now I understood what is happening. The next question in the analytics journey is, why is this happening? So sent out survey. The guys that are abandoning their duty, why are you people? I mean, we have an idea. We have some hypothesis, but we needed to test it. Why? So the conclusion was that these people are traveling for festivities. You work January to December. You need to go to
your village,
and chill and
spend the money.
Don't make money.
You understand? So I tied the post abandonment. I tied it to revenue loss. Right, and then I understood the why. So what's the next thing is, what can we then do so I came up with a framework. Let's speak to our managers or speak to the stakeholders. Is what can we do to reduce the number of people that leave their post at this point and increase the money that we made around this period. So we started, let's incentivize these guys. Like if you stay around this period,
you get XYZ.
You get extra money or whatever. I mean, so if only you're able to get 20 or 30% more people to stay, then convert this again to revenue this is going to drive, and you see that that's a very business justification. A junior person would not think like that.
Right.
Even religion, I was even thinking, maybe if you consider the religion of those people too around that festive period, it's very certain that most Christians that are even Igbos now, they are bound to travel to the village. So if you have them as part of your your staff, they will travel. That one is constant.
It can even be about, so you understand why they are leaving. You can let's have backup of. These are the number of
so you can have those are Muslims now that are not even traveling, so just bring them on board and
so thinking of that whole process end to end, like those are the kind of projects that expected from going from mid-level to senior. Ownership. And not just saying take this data, go and analyze and give us the result.
So okay, Favor.
Okay, you can go ahead though, because
so what I wanted to even say is, now there are people that that you are doing all these things, taking the ownership, everything, but you are stuck. Like, you don't know. Okay, in your mind, you are a senior. Like, I mean, what
on paper is not. They
you
show
are doing all these things. You can find yourself in an organization that, they will drive you to do a lot of things. You take on a lot of projects, this, that. Even maybe even from the junior, the junior start. Okay, I think before this podcast, we're talking about interns where people come in as interns. They're doing the work of a senior, and then you get to take on a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right from the start, and then you've been doing this for a lot of time, for a couple of years, and everything, and then you're not seeing that progression, like in terms of the title. But with the amount of stuff I've done, and based on what you said, the depth, functionality, the everything, you've done all of those things, but you are not seen as a senior or whatever it is. So how do
it goes? I said something. It goes beyond just the tools again and the technical competence. There are a lot of things that are accounted for when people start moving to mid-level to senior. Managerial experience, right? Your communication, relationship with stakeholders, right? How you are able to, because another thing is growing in a corporate ladder, you cannot eliminate office politics as well. You are not going to be a yes man, right? But you also have to understand relationship. How do you work with different stakeholders? You might be very good SQL developer or Python developer, the best, all right, but you don't have that skill to lead a team.
That's
to manage the resources that are put in your possession, or to manage money, or to frame like outcomes. So that's one thing that a lot of people miss with each other. When you start going higher, you need a lot of soft skills as well.
Wow.
You need a lot of soft skills.
I've never heard someone define, this data career ladder the way you did. Like, I'm very sure it has answered a lot of questions I've asked mine. Because, my boss, right, where I work currently, right, so I have about a little over 3 years of experience, and then he used to tell me that, Favor, you're not doing enough, you have to push yourself, do you think that you're not ready enough to be a team lead? And I'm like, I beg you, now me, when did I start, do you understand? So the way you define it now, me, myself, I know where to place myself. Like I say, I know I've passed this junior level. I know, I've taken ownership. I know how I relate to, with stakeholders and the like. And, something you said concerning, how you prefer, solutions. So I was on an interview recently, and the question they asked me is that, how do you come up with dashboards? Like, how do you come up with insights? You just wait for someone to come and tell you, okay, this is that. So how do you come up with, stuff? So, and, I had to give an example of, it's a business problem, because where I work currently, I have very tight relationship with people like the CEO. So there was a business problem, and the problem was, we are supposed to provide vehicles to a warehouse across different places, right? And the clients we are working with, they want to be able to see if those drivers were actually on ground, right? Because they had no visibility. Someone can just write a report manual and say, 5 people are here. Why 5 people actually are not there? The concept of, how can we solve the solution of let every stakeholder be able to see. So I was able to, do from end to end and add some additional, insights that I think would be very viable to that project. And so it just sums it up, because the question, and it was for a foreign company, right? So, another thing, right, that I feel is important, is not just about the pay, because, I feel if you're in a place and you gather the content, an opportunity will come, and you can just grow from an intern to I won't say an intern, but supposed intern or junior level, and you will just grow, because someone that's in the paper, right, is a senior level. That person cannot speak like you, because when you hear people speak, you definitely know where to place them. You definitely know where to place them. So I want to talk about something, right? So now let's talk about how people, compensation, salaries of each of these salary skills, right? So I feel sometimes these companies, they just put junior analysts because they want to minimize the amount that they want to pay you. But you get to that role, and then you'll be taking initiative of people that are probably in the senior level. So how do you think exactly? So how do you balance out, what you are earning? And I just want to add, so because we have to wrap things up, right? So people used to say, when you are just starting your journey, right, focus on learning, don't be money oriented. When is that time that you have to start
chasing the money?
Exactly. So when is it? It's very important. So yeah, just help us.
Thank you for the question. So your first question is, you see a job role and you come in as maybe the role is for a junior, but you're seeing like you're a junior analyst, they are asking you to build ETL pipeline, patch streaming, this one, that one. I mean, I would say that personally, so people are at different levels when it comes to will I say searching for jobs. If you have these skills, you look at the compensation, you look at the title, and you see that this is something you're comfortable with. There are some people, they've learned all of these things, they're looking for a place to learn and grow.
Cool.
Or the prospect of a company that they are working for. So you are the prospect of the company and the type of the company as well. If you see the industry, if you see what if you see what a junior data scientist or a junior data analyst in a Meta or a Google, if you see the requirements, even some people that call themselves senior in our
yes,
in our country, in our space, cannot fit into that. But if you give me that, even I don't want to say, but if you give me a junior, a mid-level role in
Google.
Amazon.
Google, am I going to turn it down? Right? Even though I'll say, I know, agree.
Like say,
And see,
like slice bread.
but you look at that kind of company and you look at the prospect and the plan, you see that you're going to maybe even impact more than. So I would say that people are at different levels. So I'm not going to say you should take or reject a job. Now, if you're being loaded with more responsibilities in your current role that you feel like is more than you look at your company compensation scale and their growth, do they compensate? There are people talk in organizations. You're already in. Do they compensate people fairly for what they've done over time? If they do, how soon does it happen? Do you need to speak to your line manager and the likes? If all of these things are there, then it's just a matter of time. If not, then probably that's the time for you to start looking at
another job.
Maybe your next opportunity. And like your second question, I've forgotten.
Yes, I was like, when is the time to chase the money? Yeah. Everybody keeps saying focus on learning. When is the time?
My brother, if you need to start chasing the bag
now,
but again, I think the whole thing about that is when you're starting out, people are going to throw different things at you, and it happens in all industries really. It happens in entertainment, it happens even in football, in music and the likes, right? Someone will have a hit track, they will say that their 50K is what, I think you hear all these kids, Daniel, and all of this journey. They tell you they're paying you 50K or just for recording and for, meanwhile the brand or the label is earning the millions, right? So you get a time where you feel like, no, I'm big enough to right now, like I want to start. So people will say, if your hand did not touch a quida, you cannot ask for for the debt. So when you know that at this point, I feel like I'm good enough to start making certain demands, and that's when you make those demands to your company, and if they feel like you're valuable enough, they will keep you. One thing mistakes some companies make is that they don't reward or keep their best staff until it's time for them to go.
Very common.
So that's the time people start saying, "Oh, we are going to give you this." At that point, do you want to stay or do you still want to go?
And they're even going to spend more bringing somebody else.
Exactly, because it's not just about the money, the knowledge too. It's very expensive.
So a lot of people feel, if you do a research about do people feel they are underpaid or overpaid, everybody will choose that they feel they are underpaid in their job. Right? So does that mean, because the company also is in a business of making money, so if they feel like you are worth $10,000, they will want to find a way to pay you less so that they can maximize. Another thing is, finally, this is where I'll stop. One of the things too that have made this our industry really, this pay and salary structure really somehow, is remote work and remote gig. Now there's influx of dollars into the economy. So what 200K as a junior person used to suffice before, it does not suffice, because people are saying this guy is a junior that is working he's collecting $3,000, $4,000. Why are you paying me 200,000 naira in.
Is it forever?
So sometimes you also need to compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges.
And know your reality.
Yeah.
Know your reality.
Yes.
Yeah. You can't be in Nigeria working for a Nigerian company that is making money from Nigerians and expect them to pay you what they're paying. So
wow,
I think
that's been very insightful. I wanted to add something, not add though, before Suraj will kill me. Don't add. It was more like, I wanted to share an experience and I wanted you to without judge if I made the right decision. I don't know if I should go ahead or just cut it. Okay, I'll just wrap it up, right? So so I made a decision recently, right? Because I was working somewhere and I had another opportunity to switch, right? So it was more like, I feel like where I was before, there were more professionals, more senior people that that could guide my hand. But like you said, right, it was more of do this, do that. There was no avenue for me to like take ownership, no avenue to like just like they were just telling me, it was like they assigned projects to them and they were giving me like the crumbs. That's how it felt, right? So I felt, and I'd been in that space for about 3 years. I wasn't necessarily like a business analyst. So where I was going to, it was more like it's a smaller scale company. They have a smaller BI team. So when I'm going there's nobody to literally like hold my hand. There'll be a problem. I'll be the one to solve it. So I was like, should I be here where, people can easily just guide me, or I should just throw myself into the ocean and, swim? And I know that when I made that decision, like a lot of things that I could do, I didn't even know I could do them. It started coming out. So do you think I made the right decision in that case?
I think you'll be in a better position to judge that. But I want to make an analogy. Do you want to be a Neymar in prime Barca where Messi is giving you passes and all you have to do is to score? Or do you want to go to PSG where you are the star man and you have to be the one to hold the team? So if you ask this question to different people at different times, at the point they're making that decision, they still have to do the one that is best for them.
Yeah.
If you're somebody that is a self-starter, you feel like you've taking enough knowledge, it's one thing to have professionals that are really impacting and mentoring you and trying to make you grow, than for people that just want to keep you there just to have someone to give tasks to. So the people that you're currently that you are working with, do you see them as someone that can mentor your career and there's still a lot they can give you and you can grow from them, or do you just want to go out and, just like you said, test the waters and build your own brand and your own reputation yourself, right? So I think that question, I still think that there's a lot to it that maybe we will not be able to unpack here. But if those people are people that are mentoring you, that you feel like these people you can learn from and you can grow with, then maybe staying with them and learning would trump, because there's something to do. If you go start out too early and you don't have that leadership or that guidance also, some people, maybe follow, but essentially I think it always works out for most people. If you feel, I've had enough of this, I've learned from these people, I want to go, lead a team. You also have to set within yourself, gauge yourself, know what you are currently what. Do you have what it takes to? There are some people right now that are doing very well within the team they currently have. They go take a team lead or a managerial position at another company and then they fail because they don't have what it takes, right? You have to be honest with yourself too, right? It's not just because, take ownership. You now go and take
now you drop
jump past waiting you
in another. But there are some people, that is what that gives them that motivation. They are good. They will go there. They will take that team lead, and even if they are going to spend all their time, their midnight, their weekends, trying to be good and better for that is what drives. Some people are adrenaline junkies. They will take that on that role and they would. But for a lot of people, that's not the reality. You get it and then you are lost. Like, what am I doing here? Cool. I think that's...
Wow. Today's episode was very impactful. It was very packed. I know that our viewers have, a lot of questions have been answered. So we've come to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much, Fatai.
Thank you.
We hope to have you again because I know he has a lot of exactly.
A lot of us like one by one.
So just to tie it up, I feel like personally, you will be the one, based on what he has said, you know where you are, you can place yourself. And it's very important that, like you said, in a global scale, you have to always put that balance, exactly, benchmark yourself in the global scale, because when these opportunities come, you are prepared enough. So thank you everyone for joining this episode. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, come back again, watch our videos, share with your family, your friends, anyone that you think, will learn. So we've come to the end of the episode. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.